Hello, everybody. So to add on to our teachings about the winter solstice, I'm going to share a little bit about my interaction with Anubis. And so I met Anubis face to face, heart to heart, spirit to spirit, when I was literally beneath the Great Pyramid in December of 2021. Excuse me, 4 years ago, as I record this. And I had just recently, I had woke up before sunrise. We took a bus out to the Giza Pyramid, and there's a Giza Plateau. We walked to the pyramid. We went inside the pyramid. Outside the pyramid, there was a bunch of dogs, a lot of feral dogs, and they were packing and running, and they were climbing the pyramid, and there was a lot of dog energy around there. And I just got a lot of chills. They were not unfriendly, but they were wild. And so then you had to climb up like maybe 2 flights of stone steps to get to this hole in the side of the pyramid, which goes into this tunnel. And there's a platform, which is maybe 20 by 6. And we all gathered there. And there's a set of stairs that goes up, and there's a set of stairs that goes down. And right there at the set of stairs, I had brought a bunch of crystals with me to charge up in the temples. And I also had like 8 or 9 specific dipped quartz little points that were like about that big. And they were dipped, so they were like multicolored. And I stuck one inside the wall of the Great Pyramid in this tiny hole that was between some mortar. And so there's this instant connection that we always can tap into with that crystal that's there. And so then we had to climb up these stairs, and the tunnel goes up, and it's like only about 5 or 4 feet high, and it's really steep, and it's really long, and there's lots of stone steps. And I had a huge bag of crystals with me because I was going to charge up all my crystals. And so we were climbing, and then you end up in a chamber, and this is the Queen's Chamber. And I did a ritual for our group called the Shamanic 9 Directions, or the Mayan 9 Directions within that chamber, which many of you have that download, and it's available on our website too if you want that. And so I did that ritual for everybody. And then you climb up, it goes another direction, and then you climb up another portion, and you end up in the King's Chamber. And it's about twice the size of the Queen's Chamber, but it's still rather small. It's like maybe 50 by 75, something like that, or 40 by 60. So it's not very big. In the very center, there's a sarcophagus, which is open, but it's no longer in the exact center. It's scooched out of alignment of the center purposefully, because when you're in the very center, you can go into a complete trance. And that's where in Egypt, we used to do 3-day, 3-night complete deprivation. No light, no sound other than the sounds that come from within or come from the spirit world, or the sounds that you make with your own voice. And this is where you face your darkest hour. And it's also connected to the exact frequency of the point of the pyramid. And now we know there's structures below the pyramid that are like charging batteries that go deep into the earth. They're like cells. And we didn't know this in 2021 when I went, but I got to lay in the sarcophagus. And then we had this huge, beautiful angelic meditation. And we used some crystal bowls and our voices, and choirs of angels came. Choirs of angels. And it was so powerful. Like there was only 18 of us, but the amount of voices that were in there were hundreds. And it was so powerful. And during the meditation and during the sound that we were making with our voices, I laid flat on my belly in the very center of the room and just wept. And I just cried out of gratitude to be in this frequency And Mother Mary came to me. And she came to me as the Divine Mother. And what she told me is nothing is more important than your bloodline. Heal your bloodline. And that was my direct order. And I cried and I promised her I would. And then as we exited, we all went back down the King's Chamber, went through the Queen's Chamber, went all the way back down and went to the platform where you could either go down into the center of the earth. It is very dark, or you could go back outside down those 2 flights of stone steps. And so there was some people that wanted to go outside and watch the sunrise over the pyramid. And I said, I'm here. I'm going to go. I'm going down. And Spirit said, look at the halo that's around me. This is the same halo. You see it?
Yep.
That was around me in Egypt. It's not always there. It's totally visible right now. Because I'm in the frequency. And so I decided I'm all in. I'm going down into the well of the world. I don't know what's down here. And there was 2 women that just took off. They just went. And I went about maybe 50 yards after them. And I could hear their voices and I could see their flashlights, but I only had the flashlight from my phone. And then maybe 5 minutes later, another group decided they want to go. And like a group of like 4 or 5 decided to descend as well. I was by myself. I was between the 2 women, myself, and then like a group of 4, but we were all like 100 yards apart. And then I lost sound of anybody that was down below me. I don't know where they went. I don't know how far down it was. I didn't know how much further it was. And I was in complete and utter total darkness other than the light of my flashlight and the cold metal rail that was attached to the stone. And I started to freak out. And I was like, if my flashlight goes out, I don't know where I am going to be. I don't know if I'm going to keep going down. I don't know if I'm going to just stop. And I just stopped and I heard Anubis. And he came to me in a vision. It was so dark that with my eyes closed and my eyes open, it was the same. And I said, oh, hi. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm facing my fears, obviously. I'm going down into the well of the world. And he's like, why? And I said, because I'm facing my fears. I'm supposed to do that. And he said, no, you're not supposed to do that. You are literally at the highest frequency you've ever been in this physical form, in this body, in this lifetime. Why would you go down and take yourself out of that frequency? He's like, there's nothing down there for you. And I was like, okay, great. All right. See y'all. And I just started turning around and I just made my way back up there and I passed that other group and I was like, see y'all. Good luck down there. And I am going out to see the sunrise. And so I just passed them and I just went outside and I just went out to the sunrise and looked at the beautiful sun god rock coming up over the Great Pyramid. And I did some photos and then we went to go see the Sphinx. And so that was my interaction with Anubis. And ever since then, he has come to me many, many times in the dream realm, in the waking realm, in the shamanic realm. And she said Anubis was like that. It's not that deep. Yeah, it is just, yeah, I'm glad I did to go down there. And, you know, if I'm called to go down again the next time, I may. But I was like, this is a hard pass. I'm out. So that was my experience with Anubis that I wanted to share with you. My experience with Mother Mary as well, and the Egyptian downloads for you. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And if any of y'all have questions, just message me. Anyway.